Imagine the darkest night you have ever seen. It is 1940 and the world is at war. London is hiding in the shadows. The city is completely dark. The government ordered a strict blackout. Citizens turned off every street lamp. They covered every window with heavy curtains. They wanted to make the massive city completely invisible from the sky. But the darkness does not save them. High above the clouds, the bombers of the German Luftwaffe approach. The pilots cannot see the river below. They cannot see the buildings. They cannot see the ground at all. Yet they do not hesitate. They open their bomb bay doors. They drop their weapons with terrifying, perfect accuracy. The bombs fall exactly on British factories. They hit vital shipyards. They destroy important military bases. Down below, the British people feel a deep, crushing despair. Imagine sitting in your home. You hear the wail of the air raid sirens. You turn off your lights, sit in the pitch black, and pray, but the bombs still find you. How are the Germans doing this? The sky is pitch black. The clouds are thick. There are no spies lighting fires on the ground to guide the planes. It feels like dark magic. The British military command is completely baffled. They are losing the war, and they cannot even see the weapon hitting them. The psychological toll is incredibly heavy. Every single night brings more sirens, more fire, and more fear. The mighty British Empire feels helpless. Hope is fading fast. But the Germans are not using magic. They're using science. They have a brand new, top-secret weapon. It is invisible, silent, and deadly. Deep underground, far away from the burning streets, a young man sits in a secret bunker. His name is Dr. R.V. Jones. He is not a general. He is not a soldier holding a rifle. He is a brilliant, quiet British scientist. He wears a simple suit, not a decorated uniform. Yet the survival of the entire nation rests squarely on his young shoulders. Dr. Jones listens to the terrifying reports of the impossible bombings. His desk is covered in maps and intercepted messages. He knows there has to be a logical answer. Machines do not use magic. Men do not see through thick clouds without help. He suspects the Germans are using something entirely new to navigate. He believes they are using the invisible airwaves. His objective is clear, but it carries an overwhelming weight. He must find this invisible weapon. He must understand exactly how it works, and he must stop it before London burns to the ground completely. He is fighting a ticking clock. Every lost second costs human lives. The angry generals want to shoot more bullets into the dark sky. But Dr. Jones knows you cannot shoot a shadow. To defeat this perfect German machine, he must use his mind. The greatest psychological battle of the war is about to begin. The pressure on Dr. R.V. Jones is crushing. Every morning the sun rises over smoking ruins. Every night the sirens wail again. He barely sleeps. He drinks endless cups of tea in his cold underground bunker. He is fighting two wars at once. One war
is against the terrifying German Luftwaffe. The other war is against his own military commanders. The British generals are old-fashioned. They fought in the trenches of the First World War. They understand bullets, tanks, and printed maps. They do not understand invisible radio waves. When Dr. Jones tells the Germans are surfing on a beam of sound, they scoff. They shake their heads. Planes need to see their targets, they argue. They demand more searchlights. They want more anti-aircraft guns. They think the young scientist is chasing ghosts in the sky. But Dr. Jones knows the ghosts are real. Through intercepted messages, he uncovers the terrifying truth. The Germans call their secret weapon Knickebein, which translates to crooked leg. Here is how this brilliant, deadly system works. The Germans built massive radio towers on the coast of mainland Europe. These towers shoot narrow, invisible radio beams straight across the English Channel. Think of them like two invisible laser pointers crossing high in the dark sky. The first beam tells the German pilot exactly what path to fly. If the plane drifts too far to the left, the pilot hears a series of short dots in his headset. If the plane drifts too far to the right, he hears long dashes. But if he flies perfectly straight down the middle, he hears a solid, continuous tone, a steady beep. The second beam acts as a tripwire. It crosses the first beam exactly over the target city. When the pilot hears the second beep layer over the first, he knows he has arrived. He does not need to look down. He just pushes a button, drops the bombs, and turns around. Imagine the psychological state of the German pilot. He sits high in the freezing dark sky. He cannot see the ground, yet he feels perfectly calm. He feels untouchable. He does not rely on his eyes or his own instincts anymore. He relies entirely on that steady beep in his ear. That sound is his lifeline. It gives him total confidence. He is chained to the machine, trusting it blindly. Back in London, finally Dr. Jones gets permission to prove his theory. He sends a lone, risky flight into the dark night. A single British plane takes off. It is completely unarmed. Its only weapon is a radio receiver. The pilot flies into the freezing night, hunting for a sound. For hours there is nothing but static. The British commanders wait on the ground, ready to call Dr. Jones a fool. But then it happens. The pilot hears it. Dots, then dashes, then the chilling, continuous beep. Dr. Jones was right. The invisible road exists. The terrifying German weapon is completely real. He found the phantom beam crossing right over the heart of Britain. The British generals immediately want to jam the signal. They want to drown it out with loud, messy radio noise to blind the pilots. But Dr. Jones quickly stops them. He knows that if they just block the signal, the Germans will know their secret is out. They will simply build a new, harder system. Dr. Jones realizes they need to do something much more dangerous. They cannot just break the machine. They have to break the minds of the men flying it.
Dr. Jones stands in the underground bunker. The air is thick with tension. The military generals are shouting. They want to smash the German radio beams with loud noise. They call it jamming. It is the obvious, traditional military choice. When an enemy attacks, you put up a wall. But Dr. Jones is not a military man. He is a scientist. He understands how the human mind works. He knows that humans are creatures of habit. He understands a deep psychological truth. Once we fully trust a machine, we stop trusting ourselves. Dr. Jones proposes a wild, daring idea to the angry generals. He says, "Do not block the signal. Let them have it, but we will steal it." The generals are stunned. It sounds crazy, but Dr. Jones explains the psychology behind his plan. Think about it. If the British simply jam the radio, the German pilot will hear loud static. He will immediately know something is wrong. He will turn his plane around and fly home safely. He will tell his commanders, "The British figured out our secret." Then Germany will just invent a new, deadlier weapon. Britain will be right back where she started. But what if the radio does not go dead? What if the pilot still hears that comforting, steady tone in his headset? He will feel safe. He will feel in control. He will fly straight into a trap, thinking he is winning. Dr. Jones does not want to fight the German planes with bullets. He wants to fight the German pilots inside their own minds. He wants to hijack their reality. The plan is absolutely brilliant, but it is also a massive, terrifying gamble. The British call this secret operation Meekening. Dr. Jones orders his team of engineers to build their own radio transmitters, but these are not normal radios. They are weapons of deception. They must build powerful machines that can broadcast the exact same signal as the German Knickebein system. They must match the frequency perfectly. They must match the tone flawlessly. It must sound exactly like the beep the German pilots trust with their lives. The British secretly set up these fake transmitters across the countryside. They place them in empty fields and lonely hills, far away from the crowded, important cities. Imagine the heavy weight crushing down on Dr. Jones. This is the ultimate risk. If his fake signal is even slightly off, the German pilots will notice the difference. They will realize it is a trick. They will ignore the fake signal, follow the real one, and drop their bombs on London anyway. And if that happens, who will take the blame? The young scientist who played a dangerous psychological game instead of following standard military rules. The lives of thousands of innocent families rest entirely on his math and his machines. The British engineers work day and night. They do not have time to build perfect factories. They work in secret sheds. They piece together transmitters using whatever spare parts they can find. Every wire, every dial, every switch must be perfect. They are preparing a psychological snare. Across the English Channel, the German pilots are resting. They are confident. They are arrogant. They believe they are the unstoppable masters of the sky. They trust their Knickebein system like a religion. They have no idea that a quiet British scientist is planning to take the invisible steering wheel right out of their hands. The British strategy is simple but incredibly delicate. When the German radio beams shoot across the dark sky, the British transmitters will turn on. They will catch the enemy signal. Then, very slowly, they will begin to pull it. They will bend the invisible road away from London and out into the empty wilderness. Night falls again over Britain. The blackout curtains are drawn tight. The city holds its breath. The sirens remain silent, but everyone knows the enemy is coming. Deep in the underground bunker, Dr. Jones and his team sit by their newly built machines. The radio dials glow faintly in the dim light. Their hands hover over the controls. They wait for the first invisible wave to hit. The room is dead quiet. You can hear a pin drop. Everything is ready. The fake transmitters are powered up.
The psychological trap is fully set. Now they just need the mighty German Luftwaffe to take the bait. The greatest trick in the history of warfare is about to begin.
The sun sets over occupied France. The sky turns dark and cold. On a massive military airstrip, heavy bomber engines roar to life. The mighty German Luftwaffe is ready to strike again. Hundreds of pilots climb into their dark cockpits. They are the elite of the German military. They laugh, they joke, and they secure their heavy leather helmets. They feel completely invincible. They believe tonight will be just like every other night, a simple flight, a perfect strike, a glorious return. They take off into the pitch-black sky, leaving the coast of Europe behind. They are heading straight for the heart of Britain. Back in Germany, the massive Knickebein radio towers power up. They shoot their invisible, silent radio beams across the dark English Channel. In the bomber cockpits, the German navigators put on their thick headsets. They turn their radio dials. Suddenly, the loud static breaks. A clear, steady tone fills their ears. Beep, beep, beep. The pilots smile in the dark. The invisible road is open. They lock their planes onto the signal. They relax their shoulders. They stop looking out the windows. The machine is doing the work now. The steady sound makes them feel safe and powerful. But hundreds of miles away, the situation is completely different. Dr. Jones sits in his underground British bunker. The room is freezing, but he is sweating. His eyes stare intensely at the glowing dials of his radio receivers. Suddenly, the needles on the dials jump. The British machines catch the German signal. The phantom beam is here. The enemy is on the way. Dr. Jones picks up the heavy black telephone. He makes a direct, secret call to the fake transmitter stations hidden across the dark British countryside. He takes a deep breath. He gives a simple, quiet order. Turn them on. In empty fields and lonely dark hills, the British transmitters roar to life. They push massive amounts of power into the night sky. They copy the German radio frequency perfectly. They blast the exact same steady tone into the airwaves. Up in the sky, the German pilots hear nothing different. The beep in their headsets remains smooth and strong. The dramatic irony is absolutely terrifying. We know the pilots are flying straight into a trap. We know the British now hold the invisible steering wheel. But the proud German pilots have no idea. They are blindly trusting the very thing that is about to destroy them. Now comes the most dangerous moment of the entire war. Dr. Jones cannot just point the fake beam away instantly. If the radio signal suddenly jumps to the side, the compasses in the German planes will show a massive error. The navigators will notice immediately. They will break the spell. They will realize it is a trick. The movement must be agonizingly slow. It must be perfectly smooth. In the secret British stations, operators place their sweating hands on large metal tuning dials. They wait for the signal from London. "Move it," the commander whispers. The operator turns the dial just 1 single millimeter. High in the dark sky, the German plane drifts slightly off the real path. The steady beep in the pilot's ear turns into a series of sharp, sharp dots. The pilot hears this, but he does not panic. He thinks the harsh night wind is simply pushing his plane off course. He does exactly what he is trained to do. He grabs the heavy control yoke. He gently turns the massive bomber to the right to find the steady beep again. The solid tone returns. The pilot is happy. He thinks he just fixed a minor flying mistake. He does not realize he just turned his plane completely away from London.
The British just hijacked his mind. Minute by minute, the operators turn the dials. Millimeter by millimeter, the invisible road bends. Down in the bunker, the tension is almost unbearable. Nobody speaks, nobody moves. Everyone just watches the clocks. They are playing a deadly game of tug-of-war in the dark. The British scientists are using fake radio waves to drag a massive enemy fleet across the sky. The German pilots fly further and further away from the major cities. They fly over empty fields. They fly over dark forests. They fly out toward the open ocean, and yet they still hear the perfect, steady beep. The psychological trick is working flawlessly. In the dim red light of the cockpit, some German navigators look at their paper maps. Their math tells them something might be slightly wrong. The wind doesn't feel right. The stars look a little out of place. Their human instincts whisper a warning, but they ignore their own eyes. They ignore their own instincts. The machine tells them they are right, so they believe the machine. They are completely hypnotized by the phantom beam. Now the bomber fleet is approaching the final stage. The drop zone is near. The British operators are preparing to trigger the fake second beam. This is the invisible tripwire. They are about to tell the Germans to drop their bombs. The climax of the greatest deception in history is only moments away.
High in the freezing sky, a moment of intense doubt strikes the German cockpit. The navigator sits in the dim red light. He stares at his magnetic compass. The needle is slowly drifting. According to his paper maps, they should be flying straight toward London, but the compass tells a different story. It shows the plane is slowly turning in a massive circle. He taps the glass of the compass. He thinks it must be broken. He looks out the small window, but he sees nothing. The night is a wall of thick, black clouds. His human instincts scream at him. He feels a knot in his stomach. Something is terribly wrong. He calls out to the pilot. He points to the compass. He suggests they break formation and turn back. But the pilot shakes his head. The pilot points directly at his radio headset. He hears the steady, solid beep of the Knickebein system. It is loud, it is clear, it is perfect. The pilot yells over the roar of the massive engines. "Trust the machine. The wind is just playing tricks on us. The beam never lies." This is the exact psychological trap Dr. Jones built. He knew the Germans worshipped their technology. He knew they would rather doubt their own eyes than doubt their perfect machines. The navigator sighs. He puts his map away. He ignores his gut feeling. He surrenders his mind to the phantom beam. Down in the British bunker, Dr. Jones watches the maps. His team tracks the heavy bombers on their early radar screens. The trick is working perfectly. The British bent the invisible road so slowly and so smoothly that the German planes flew in a giant curve. They completely missed London. They missed the British factories. They even missed the British coastline. The planes flew right back across the dark English Channel. Right now, the mighty German Luftwaffe is flying directly over occupied France. They are flying straight toward their own military territory. Dr. Jones stands up. His heart pounds against his ribs. The climax is here. It is time to spring the final trap. He looks at his lead radio operator. He gives a swift, silent nod. The operator reaches for a different switch. This switch controls the second fake radio beam. This is the invisible tripwire. When the German planes cross this second beam, it tells them they are directly over the target. It tells them to drop everything. The operator flips the heavy metal switch. Up in the dark sky,
The German radio operator hears a sudden change in his headset. A second high-pitched tone layers over the steady beep. The sound rings loudly in his ears. He smiles widely. He quickly shouts into the intercom, "Target reached. We are directly over London. Prepare to drop." The mood in the bomber instantly changes. The tension breaks. The crew feels a massive rush of excitement and victory. They did it. They beat the darkness. They reached the heart of the British Empire. The bombardier takes control. He crawls on his stomach to the front of the plane. He looks through the glass nose. He still cannot see the ground, but it doesn't matter. The machine tells him exactly when to strike. He grabs the heavy release lever. He pulls it hard. Beneath the plane, massive metal doors swing open. Freezing wind violently rushes into the belly of the bomber. The plane suddenly shakes as it loses thousands of pounds of weight. Hundreds of deadly bombs fall from the sky. They cut through the thick clouds. They whistle a terrifying, high-pitched scream as they drop into the absolute darkness. For a few long seconds, there is nothing but the sound of the wind. Then the world below erupts. Massive flashes of orange and red light pierce the dark clouds. The sky lights up like a violent sunrise. Huge shock waves shake the heavy bombers. The explosions are absolutely massive. They are much bigger than normal. The German pilots look down through the glass. They see an ocean of fire. They see secondary explosions ripping through the night. Giant fireballs shoot hundreds of feet into the air. The pilot cheers. The navigator laughs. They clap each other on the back. They believe they just hit the biggest ammunition factory in London. They believe they just broke the back of the British military. The radio operator quickly grabs his microphone. He sends a proud, encrypted message straight back to German High Command. Mission accomplished. Target destroyed. The city is burning. The pilot banks the plane. He turns away from the fire. He sets his course for home. The entire bomber fleet flies away, feeling like untouchable heroes. They are completely unaware of the horrifying mistake they just made. Far away in the freezing British bunker, an operator intercepts the German mission accomplished message. He reads it out loud to the room. The bunker goes completely silent. Then a slow, quiet smile spreads across Dr. R.V. Jones's tired face. He leans back in his hard wooden chair. He takes his first deep breath in days. The room erupts into quiet cheers. Scientists hug each other. Generals stare in absolute disbelief. The young, quiet scientist actually pulled it off. He fought the most dangerous air force in the world, and he used their own minds as a weapon. The night is finally over. The phantom beam did its job, but the true shock of this brilliant deception will not hit the Germans until the sun comes up. Morning finally breaks over the coast of occupied France. The thick black smoke from the night's bombing still blocks out the sun. German military vehicles rush to the site of the massive explosions. The commanders step out of their cars. They expect to see the ruins of an enemy city. They expect to find a crushed British target. But as the smoke clears, the blood freezes in their veins. They are not standing in London. They are standing in their own territory, and the destruction is absolute. The giant fireballs the pilots saw the night before were not British factories. The Germans bombed their own highly classified ammunition depots. The massive explosions happened because they dropped heavy bombs directly onto their own bombs. Everywhere the German commanders look, they see twisted metal and ashes. They see the burnt remains of their most vital supply trains. These trains carried the fuel, weapons, and food needed to keep the German army moving. In one single night, the mighty Luftwaffe destroyed weeks of their own hard work. They turned their own powerful resources into a massive graveyard of ashes. The shockwaves of this disaster quickly reach the German High Command. The generals are furious. They are completely terrified. How could their elite pilots make such a massive, impossible mistake? Back at the air bases, the German pilots wake up. They feel like heroes. They wait for their medals and their praise. Instead, their furious commanding officers march into the barracks. The officers deliver the horrifying news. "You did not hit London. You hit us." Imagine the heavy, psychological, crushing weight of that moment. The pilots are completely stunned. They remember the flight perfectly. They remember following the steady beep of the radio. They remember the machine telling them they were exactly on target. They trusted the invisible beam with their lives. In that split second, the real damage of Dr. Jones's trick is finally revealed. It is not just about the lost trains and the blown-up ammunition. The true casualty of this night is trust. The unbreakable confidence of the German Luftwaffe is shattered into a million pieces. Dr. Jones did not just hijack a radio beam, he hijacked their reality. Moving forward, the German pilots face a terrifying problem. Whenever they fly in the dark and hear that steady beep, they will sweat. They will doubt themselves. They will nervously ask, "Is this the real signal from our towers, or is this the British tricking me again?" They can no longer trust their headsets. They can no longer trust their compasses. They can no longer trust their own commanders. The invisible weapon that once made them invincible is now completely useless. A weapon you cannot trust is worse than having no weapon at all. The fear of being tricked haunts every single flight. Across the English Channel, the sun rises over a safe, quiet London. The city did not burn last night. Thousands of innocent lives were saved. The British military just bought precious time. They gained the time they desperately needed to build more planes and train more fighters. The dark tide of the war slowly begins to turn. And it all happened because of one quiet young scientist in a cold underground room. Dr. R.V. Jones did not fire a single bullet. He did not drop a single bomb. He proved that wars are not just won with pure muscle or heavy steel. They're won with the mind. He understood that the greatest weakness of any powerful enemy is their own arrogance. When you blindly trust a machine, you stop using your brain. You ignore your own human instincts, and that is exactly when a clever enemy will strike. The story of the phantom beam and the brilliant trick called meekening remains one of the greatest deceptions in military history. It reminds us of a powerful truth. True strength does not come from unbeatable technology. It comes from human cleverness, courage, and the stubborn refusal to give up, even in the darkest of nights. If this incredible story of psychological warfare amazed you, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable true stories from history. And let us know in the comments below, what would you do if the machine you trusted with your life suddenly lied to you? Until next time, stay curious, trust your instincts, and keep questioning what you hear.